watching Quad Cities Live.
Did you know nearly 90% of flowering plants rely on pollinators for fertilization, and that there's nearly 200,000 different species of animal pollinators?
I did not. Those are just a couple of fun facts that you're going to learn at the Pollination Investigation exhibit, which is underway now at the Putnam Museum in Davenport. And here to tell us more about it is Christine Chandler, who is the Curator of Natural Sciences at the Putnam. Christine, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me here.
This sounds like a really cool exhibit that's going on there, and it's underway now. So have people been able to come out yet and check things out?
Yeah, it's been open for about a month, and
Okay.
we've been getting quite a few people going through. We have a section where kids can color, and and adults can color too. So a lot of times I walk in and I find that people are coloring the coloring pages with the pollinators on them. So
I love that.
What are like kind of the public response so far, and what are people finding most fascinating about the exhibit?
I think it's one of the interesting things about the exhibit is that it promotes how important pollinators are to us, especially as you mentioned, something like 90% of our flowers are pollinated, but that's also like 75% of our crops are pollinated by pollinating plant animals and critters and things. So people don't realize that if something happens to our pollinators, we pay for it ultimately.
Yeah, it's what makes them so important, and I don't think that people actually realize that, especially even being from a state that relies so heavily on agriculture and things like that. It's hugely important. So here's a look at it on your screen. What can visitors expect when they enter the exhibit?
Well, it's actually a panel exhibit that's produced by the Smithsonian Institution. So the panels all are talking about the who, what, why of pollinators. They'll take you through the different types of pollinators and the types of plants that they like, which is really good around this time of year when you're starting to pick out plants for your gardens. It's good to know that sort of thing. But then, being the Putnam, we actually have to use some of our collection for it. We're very proud of our collection, so we've actually added specimens from our herbarium, which is our pressed plant collection.
Very cool. I was reading about that, and I'm a plant person. I was fascinated to learn that the Putnam has such an extensive archive, if you will, of local plants. So that's really cool.
It's close to 20,000 sheets of pressed plants.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. It is.
That is amazing. So why are herbarium?
Herbarium, yeah.
Why are having those collections so important?
Well, the first thing, of course, is that they're used to identify plants. So if somebody brings a plant in or wants to check and make sure they have a plant, they have that. But these days we look at the big picture, and our herbarium dates back into the early 1800s. So you look at the change, you can see the changes in landscape, the changes in environment through time, and so you can use it to track like things that are happening now, like climate change. You can use herbarium specimens to track that to see, okay, this plant usually lived in this type of habitat, it's gone, where is it now? And you can watch it throughout time.
Hence the pollination investigation portion of it. Wow, that's pretty exciting stuff, and I'm sure it's really popular, and I think it probably gets people who may not be botany people or plant people, piques some interest, I think. And
we also, in some of our material that we have out, we mentioned the collectors. One of the interesting things is the different people that have collected over the last 150 years or more, and we have everything from high school students to professional botanists.
Wow.
And as always, there are some activities on the Putnam's website.
Right, that's what we're seeing
families
right
can
now.
participate in.
Yeah.
You guys make a lot of stuff available to families, and I think a lot of that born out of just having to be home so much over the last couple of years.
Last couple of years, we've did a lot more emphasis on what we have for online learning. And of course, we're going to be doing, I don't know if you've heard, but we're going to be doing our Pollinators Palooza in May again.
Yes,
Oh.
May 14th, I
May
believe,
14th,
right?
yeah.
They're at the Putnam?
At the Putnam, sponsored by the Scott County Master Gardeners. And they're going to have a plant sale, and then we're going to have a bunch of expert people talking, and then also they'll be showing, I think it's Flight of the Butterflies.
Oh, yeah.
Very
in
cool.
3D. So.
Well, that'll be something to mark your calendars on May 14th on that, and that you can find on the website, along with Pollination Investigation, which is now on display through the spring season at the very least. They're at the Putnam on 12th Street in Davenport. You can go to putnam.org to check that out and all the other exhibits. Christine, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you again for inviting me.
Yes, no problem.